Starting a poultry farm can feel confusing. You might have watched videos or heard stories of people making money with chickens, but when it comes to your own birds, you wonder, where do I even begin? In this video, I'll show you a practical step-by-step plan, from the first idea in your head all the way to when your first chick arrives. By the end, you'll know what to do first, what comes next, and how to move safely so you can learn and grow without stress. So let's begin at the very start, the idea stage, where every successful poultry farm really begins. Before anyone builds a poultry house or buys chicks, something happens quietly in the mind. It doesn't start with money or land. It starts with a small thought. Maybe someone says, eggs sell every day, or you see a neighbor paying school fees from poultry. At that point, nothing is decided. The thought is light, and that is normal. If someone asks you then what type of birds you want or how many, you won't know. The idea is not strong yet. And if pressure comes too early, stories about diseases, losses, or failure, the idea often disappears. That's why many people say they once thought about poultry but never continued. For some people, the thought keeps coming back. They start watching videos, listening to farmers, and asking questions. This feels like progress, but it can also create confusion. One person says start big, another says start small. One says layers, another says broilers. The person ends up knowing many things but trusting none of them. They usually say, I'm still researching. What is really happening is that the idea is becoming heavier. It stops being about people and starts becoming about me. You imagine feeding your own birds or selling eggs nearby. This is also when fear appears, fear of loss or failure. That fear doesn't mean you should stop. It usually means the idea is becoming real. With time, the thinking becomes calmer. You stop dreaming about big numbers and start thinking small and realistic. Maybe just trying poultry, not building a big business. When that happens, the idea becomes useful. It starts to fit into your life. At this point, a simple question appears. If I try this, who would I sell to? This is not deep market study. It's just awareness. You begin noticing whether people around you buy eggs or meat more often, how prices move, and how often people buy. This is how the idea quietly moves toward reality. When the idea settles like this, planning can begin. You start noticing small things. Do people buy one tray at a time or single eggs? Are birds sold mainly during weekends or every day? You are not trying to find the best price. You are trying to understand what is normal where you live. Poultry works better when it fits into existing habits, not when it tries to change them. This simple observation protects beginners from a common mistake, producing something before knowing who wants it. You don't need customers yet, but you need confidence that demand exists. When that becomes clear, the mind becomes quieter, doubt reduces, and choices become easier. This is where choosing the type of bird comes in. Many beginners want to keep all options open: layers and broilers, eggs and meat, local and improved breeds. It feels safe, but it creates confusion. Planning does the opposite. Planning removes options. At this point, you choose one path. Not the best bird, not the most profitable bird, just one bird that matches what you observed and what you can manage. Layers if eggs move steadily in your area, broilers if meat sells quickly and predictably. This choice is not permanent, it is simply for learning. It helps to remember this. Your first birds are not your business, they are your training. When you see them that way, the pressure to choose perfectly disappears. You are not trying to win, you are trying to learn without getting hurt. Once the bird type is chosen, another quiet decision follows: how small to start. This is where many people lie to themselves. They look at success stories and try to copy numbers. But poultry does not respect excitement, it respects capacity. A safe starting point is not decided by ambition, it is decided by loss. Ask yourself honestly, if these birds fail, will my life be disturbed? Will it cause debt, family conflict, or stress? If the answer is yes, the scale is too big. Starting small is not weakness. It is how beginners survive long enough to improve. By the end of this stage, the picture becomes clearer. You know what people around you buy. You have chosen one type of bird. You have accepted a small, manageable scale. Now, poultry is no longer an idea floating in the mind. It is something that needs to fit into real life, and that is where planning becomes practical. Once the bird type and scale are clear, the thinking shifts again. Now, the question is not whether poultry can work, but whether it can fit into your life. This is where many beginners make mistakes, not because they lack knowledge, but because they ignore reality. Budgeting at this stage is not about profit, it is about protection. You are not asking, how much can I make? You are asking, how much can I afford to lose without stress? That number becomes your boundary. Poultry money must be separate in your mind. It must never touch rent money, school fees, or food money. When survival money mixes with poultry money, fear enters every decision and learning becomes impossible. A simple beginner budget only needs to cover a few things: the birds, their feed, basic housing, and a small buffer for mistakes. Nothing more. If the plan requires borrowing or promises quick returns, it is already too heavy. A calm plan is one you can carry even if things go wrong. At the same time, poultry must fit into your daily routine. Birds do not care how busy you are. They eat every day. They need water every day. They need to be checked every day. So you have to be honest with yourself. When will you feed them? Who checks them if you are away? How much time can you realistically give without feeling trapped? Space matters too, but not in a complicated way. You don't need perfect land or permanent buildings at this stage. You need a place that is dry, safe, and easy to reach. If you have to struggle to access your birds, you will slowly avoid them. Poultry fails quietly that way. When budget and daily life are considered together, something important happens. The plan becomes smaller but stronger. You stop copying other people's setups and start designing one that fits you. That is the goal of this stage. Not growth, stability. Once you know your limits, money, time, and space, you are ready to turn planning into action. The next step is preparing the physical environment where the birds will live. With the plan clear and the limits accepted, preparation becomes physical. This is where many beginners rush, trying to build something impressive. But poultry does not reward appearance, it rewards function. Housing at this stage has one job: to protect the birds and make your work easier. It does not need to be permanent or expensive. It needs to keep birds dry, protect them from wind and heat, and allow fresh air to move through. Predators are another reality. Dogs, rats, snakes, and even people can destroy weeks of effort in one night. Good housing reduces these risks quietly. Strong doors, covered openings, and simple barriers do more than fancy materials ever will. Once housing is set, biosecurity comes in naturally. Biosecurity sounds like a big word, but for beginners, it means simple discipline. Limiting who enters the poultry area, avoiding unnecessary visits to other farms, using clean footwear, keeping equipment for poultry separate from other work. Most diseases do not appear by accident, they are carried in. This is not meant to create fear, it is meant to create habits. Good habits at the beginning prevent panic later. When biosecurity is part of the setup, you spend less time worrying and more time observing. At this point, something important should happen before birds arrive. You should walk through the system in your mind. Where will feed be kept? Where will water be filled? How will waste be removed? If any step feels confusing or heavy, it means preparation is not complete. Birds should arrive into a system that is already calm and working. When housing is ready and basic biosecurity habits are in place, the farm is no longer an idea or a plan. It is an environment waiting to be used. Only then is it time to think about bringing in chicks. Buying chicks feels like the real beginning, but in truth, it is the final step of preparation. If everything before this was done well, bringing in chicks does not feel rushed or exciting. It feels calm. Chicks should come from a source you trust, not the cheapest, not the fastest. A place where birds are handled well and advice is consistent. The age of the chicks matters, and so does how they are transported. Long delays, rough handling, or late arrivals create stress. Before the chicks arrive, the house must already be ready. Feeders and waterers should be in place. Heat should be stable. Water should be clean and easy to reach. When chicks arrive, they should not wait for adjustments. They should walk into an environment that is already prepared for them. Brooding is the first real test for a beginner. Many people think brooding is about heat alone, but it is really about attention. You watch how chicks behave. If they crowd together, something is wrong. If they scatter too far, something is wrong. Their movement tells you more than any thermometer. This is where routine begins to matter. Feeding at the same times, checking water regularly, cleaning small messes before they grow. These actions seem small, but they create stability. When routines are consistent, problems become easier to notice early. Mistakes will happen at this stage. A feeder may tip over, water may spill, a chick may weaken or die. These moments are not failure, they are lessons. What matters is responding early and calmly. Panic causes more harm than the mistake itself. By the end of the brooding period, something changes. The birds are stronger and so are you. Confidence at this stage does not come from excitement. It comes from familiarity. You know how your birds behave, you know your space, you know your routine. That is when daily management truly begins. As feeding and health settle into routine, another quiet thought should begin forming. Marketing. Not selling yet, just awareness. Who will buy when the time comes? Will it be neighbors, traders, shops, or individuals? You don't wait until birds are ready to start thinking about this. You think early so you are not forced into bad decisions later. For beginners, marketing is not advertising. It is connection. Letting people know you keep birds. Understanding how they prefer to buy. These conversations happen naturally when you are not desperate to sell. By this stage, poultry should no longer feel confusing. It should feel manageable. Problems still appear, but they no longer shock you. You have routines, you have awareness, and slowly you start seeing poultry as a system, not a struggle. By now, you have a small flock, routines in place, feed and water managed, birds growing, and a sense of who your customers might be. The final piece that completes the beginner's roadmap is records. Records do not have to be complicated. You don't need software or charts. Start with simple notes. How much feed was given each day, any deaths, behavior changes, and small sales if they happen. These notes are your eyes and memory. They help you see patterns, remember what worked, and notice problems early. Without them, learning is slower and mistakes are repeated. Keeping records also turns effort into understanding. You start seeing which feed works best, which birds thrive, and which routines are sustainable. Records make your decisions quieter and smarter. They are proof of your learning, not just numbers on paper. At this point, the beginner has completed the first cycle of starting a poultry farm. You began with a small idea. You observed the market. You chose a bird and scale. You budgeted, set up housing, applied biosecurity, bought chicks, managed brooding, fed and watched them daily, and thought about early marketing. All that remains is continued observation, learning, and adjustment as the birds grow. The value of this approach is that nothing felt rushed. You did not spend too much. You did not take unnecessary risks. You created a system where mistakes are small and learning is built into every step. When your first chicks arrive, you are ready. You are not perfect, but you are steady. And that is what separates beginners who stop from those who continue, grow, and succeed. If you want extra help getting started, you can check my online store to download beginner toolkits. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more tips. Also, check the video on your screen for more about poultry farming.